Rain hammered against the windows of Blackwood Manor the night Adrian Vale died. By morning, the famous novelist was found slumped over his desk, a fountain pen still in his hand, and a half-finished sentence on the page. The person who killed me was... But the sentence ended there. 3 people were inside the manor that night: his wife, his assistant, and his younger brother. One of them was lying, and one of them had planned the perfect murder. Detective Elena Graves arrived just after sunrise. The study smelled of whiskey, wet paper, and cigarette smoke. Adrian Vale sat motionless in a leather chair. No wounds, no signs of struggle. At first glance, it looked like a heart attack. But then, Eleanor noticed something strange. The glass of whiskey on the desk had lipstick on the rim. Except Adrian lived alone in the study wing, and according to everyone in the house, no woman had visited him that night. The detective turned toward the unfinished sentence. The person who killed me was... No name, no clue, just silence. Clara Vale, the wife. Elegant, cold, calm. She claimed she went to bed at 10 p.m. and never saw her husband afterward. But the servants confirmed they had argued earlier that evening, loudly, about money. Adrian had recently changed his will. If he died, Clara inherited nothing. Marcus Reed, the assistant. Young, nervous, loyal, at least on the surface. Marcus had worked for Adrian for 5 years. He admitted entering the study around midnight to deliver manuscript pages, but he insisted Adrian was alive when he left. Still, detectives found something suspicious in Marcus's room. A burned fragment of paper, part of a life insurance policy. Daniel Vale, the brother. Adrian's younger brother had a gambling problem, massive debts, and Adrian had refused to help him anymore. Daniel claimed he spent the night drinking in the billiard room alone, but there was no bartender, no witness, nothing confirming his story. The coroner's report arrived that afternoon. Adrian hadn't died from a heart attack. He'd been poisoned, a rare toxin, odorless, slow-acting, and almost impossible to detect. The poison had been poured into his whiskey around 11 p.m. That narrowed the timeline. But then Detective Graves noticed another detail. Adrian's fountain pen had leaked ink across his fingers, as if he had collapsed while trying desperately to write something. The detective stared again at the unfinished sentence. The person who killed me was... Why stop there? Unless he couldn't finish. Or perhaps he never intended to. Late that evening, Eleanor searched Adrian's office again. That's when she found it. A small tape recorder hidden behind books on the shelf. Inside was a recording made only hours before his death. Adrian's voice crackled through the speaker. "If anything happens to me, one of them finally did it." A pause, then footsteps, and another voice entered the room. But the audio suddenly cut off. Someone had erased the rest. Except, not completely. There was one faint sound left at the end, a lighter flicking open. Click, click. Eleanor froze. Earlier that day, she had seen only one person repeatedly using a lighter. Daniel, the brother. Daniel was arrested immediately. Under pressure, he confessed to visiting Adrian that night, but he denied murder. "Yes, we fought," he said, "but I left him alive." Then he revealed something unexpected. Adrian already knew someone was poisoning him. For weeks. He just didn't know who. That changed everything. If Adrian suspected murder before that night, then the unfinished sentence wasn't a dying message. It was bait. A trap. Detective Graves rushed back to the study. She examined the page more carefully. The handwriting near the final words looked shaky, except for one part. The word was perfectly steady, deliberately written. Adrian hadn't been interrupted. He stopped on purpose. He wanted the killer to believe he was about to expose them and panic.
Elena gathered everyone in the manor. Then she placed a whiskey glass on the table. "Lipstick," she said quietly. "That's what exposed you." Clara frowned. Marcus looked confused, but Daniel stared at the floor. Elena continued. "The lipstick wasn't from a woman. It was planted to mislead us." She turned towards Marcus. "You burned part of the insurance policy because you discovered Adrian had removed you from it." Marcus's face went pale. "He promised me everything," Marcus whispered. "After everything I did for him." Then Elena delivered the final blow. The poison was hidden inside Adrian's medication capsules, slow-acting, administered over weeks. Only one person handled Adrian's daily medicines, Marcus. Tears filled his eyes. "He treated me like a servant," Marcus said. "I gave him 5 years of my life." "And when he realized someone was poisoning him," Elena replied, "he wrote that sentence to force the killer into making a mistake." Marcus had planted the lipstick, erased the tape, burned the insurance document. Too many moves, too much panic, and that's what exposed him. As police led Marcus away, rain continued falling outside Blackwood Manor. Detective Graves looked once more at Adrian's unfinished sentence. "The person who killed me was..." A message that never needed completion. Because sometimes, fear finishes the story for you. And in the end, the perfect murder failed for one simple reason. The killer couldn't stop trying to rewrite the ending.